So this is our last forum. We've had a full year of forums, which has been fun, but this is our last one. And I'm thrilled that Nan is going to be leading it. Today is going to be focusing on the Altar Guild and some of the things that people don't see or pay attention to necessarily when you just come up to the rail just for a minute and then you leave. And if you're not involved in Altar Guild, you don't handle these things intimately. And so she's going to tell us a lot about the different vessels and hangings and linens and show you some different details that maybe we don't always see. But first, before we do that, I want to make sure everybody knows we have a new book. It's book season, and so we have a second book. We're calling it our guidebook, and it is a little 48-page. It's designed really to be a wonderful souvenir for visitors. $15, very affordable, easy, but it has the most detailed explanations of anything, of everything in the church that we have anywhere. So it goes through, for example, each window, and it tells you what each part of the window means, what the symbolism is, what the significance is, some of the history of different items in the church. Has little maps, and it goes through things of the Jones Chapel and Herald House and that sort of thing as well. And so those are going to be available to buy over in the Christ Church Central at the church. So come pick that up. It is a great companion to the coffee table book because there's information in that that's not in the coffee table book and vice versa. So, and then the last piece of that is we have redone our map that we give visitors that kind of folds out and walks them around the church. And those will be here in the next couple of weeks before Cherry Blossom Festival. And all three of those really build on one another. You've got the freebie, the little disposable map that people will read and toss. And then they have a wonderful little $15 souvenir. And then if they really want a beautiful sort of keepsake, they've got the coffee table book they can buy. So it's sort of, they all fit together very well. So come get your guidebook after church. So talking about the Altar Guild today, I told Nan I would just talk just for a minute about some of the history of that. And I don't know that I have a lot of detailed history about it, but I do want to share with you this passage in our 1975 history book. And it's an appendix to the history. And it's about the Episcopal Church women, the ECW. And this is how it starts. And I just think this is so lovely, but it gives you a little insight into how it's evolved over time. From the beginning in 1825, the women of Christ Church, the women, of course, you don't want men around any of this stuff. The women of Christ Church have always made a great contribution to the spiritual life and certainly have done more than their share in maintaining and improving the physical properties of the parish. Whether acting as the Ladies' Aid Society, the Chancel Society, the Diocesan Missionary Society, the Guild of the Helping Hand, the Women's Auxiliary, the Mothers' Meeting, or, as they are known now, the Episcopal Churchwomen, they have stood behind the rector, wardens, and vestrymen, working untiringly, that's a hard word to say, untiringly, for the good of Christ Church. Preparing and serving meals, staging all sorts of festivals, and in later years the annual bazaars, doing the many tasks connected with the Altar Guild and the Flower Committee, they bear witness to the old saying, a woman's work is never done. It's just a lovely little passage, I think, but it speaks to all of the different societies that, or organizations that the church had going all the way back to 1825 or 33, I guess, were the first church, where we had a chancel society that helped with doing the things that the Altar Guild does now. And then it sort of evolved, and then other societies developed, like the Ladies' Aid Society. And if you go through our history, there are so many things in the church that were given by the Ladies' Aid Society, where they raised money and donated this to the church, or they fixed this, or they bought the rectory across the street, built the rectory across the street. So there's so many things that that the Ladies Aid Society really contributed. And at the same time, you had this parallel chancel society, and eventually they sort of merged together or kind of melded into one, and now it's sort of split back again with ECW and Altar Guild and Flower Guild and that sort of thing. But it's a fluid process. But where we are now is where we are. And Nan heads up our Altar Guild, and we're so happy to have her. And she's going to tell us all about some beautiful little things up at the altar. And I'm sure she'll answer any questions you have. And Nan, take it over. Take it away. Thank you.
Okay, I thought I would just, I'm going to show you a lot of our pretty things that we have, but I'm also just going to set the altar up like Altar Guild would do for the service. When you come in, you just see everything set up. So I think it's nice to kind of see how it happens. And everything is, we have an instruction book, and you have to follow the instructions. That's what I love about it. It's always the same. But I was just going to say, I was reading through one of our books, and it said, this was a nice way to put what we do. The basic duties of the Altar Guild, as described in one of the books we have, is to prepare the necessary things for celebration of the Eucharist and any of the sacraments and offices of the church, such as weddings and funerals, so that they may be conducted in decency, order, and beauty. We serve the priest, and I read that it said we are servants to the servants of God. So I thought that was a nice way to put what we try to do here. So I'm just going to show you some of the linens we use, and Marquise, you will attest to, and I've had to do this too, of ironing these. It is not a small task. Everything is supposed to be linen, pure fibers, stain-free, ironed crisply, and just everything is supposed to be perfect. So this is the lavabo towel. It is the towel that the priest dries their hands with. And everything has a pretty embroidered symbol on them. I'll pass them around so you can look at them. They're different ones, and see how they're folded. That's the lavabo towel. And this is a purificator. You can see, like, this one is folded in thirds, and then this way like that, and it sits over the cup. I'll show you how we set those up. But that's a purificator. They use that to wipe any spills from the wine. And then we have a corporal here. This is one of our pretty Lenten. We have different linens for each season. And then we have this pretty pall. This is a Lenten pall. And then I'm also going to pass around, these are the boxes that we keep our different linens in. They're labeled Christmas, Trinity, Sunday, Advent, Easter, Christmas. There's some different ones that we have. They're beautiful. Notice on the Easter and the Christmas ones, those are Mary Moore linens that are English hand embroidered in Madeira, Portugal. All hand done. They're done in an ice white. It's really like it looks like a light blue, but they're beautiful. So just really take notice of those. They take weeks or months to get sometimes and are not inexpensive. So we have really, really beautiful things that you don't really get to see from out there, but our priests do, and we get to see them.
And Nan, to interrupt there, we've dedicated a page of the coffee table book to those palls because so many people can't see the detail of that embroidery. So that's why those are in the book.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just start with the altar. That's the center of the church, and we underneath this cloth is a linen cloth that is we call it a cere cloth. It's waxed cotton linen, and it is traditionally what was wrapped around the body after a death, after you die. So that's the first thing that goes on the altar. And then this is the fair linen that goes on top of that. And sometimes for different weddings or funerals or like All Saints Day, Christmas, Easter, we'll have another piece of linen, we call it a frontal, that hangs down right here. A lot of those have been handmade. I love looking through old Altar Guild information. This was done in 1967 on somebody's little typewriter. All of our linens for Christ Church, inventory, and silver, and then all these little notes handwritten from different Altar Guild chairs that have, you know, different notes about what's not here anymore, or what has a hole in it, and they have names for all the frontals, which are different names than what we call them. So I'm not really sure what our frontals are called, if they're the same ones that were in 1967, or whether we have different ones, but a lot of them were hand done by parishioners. So that was interesting. If you can pass that around. When we set up the altar, we have a calendar back there that shows the colors, what season it is. We always check before we set up the altar to make sure. Right now we're in Lent, so we use purple. And we use these when we vest the chalice. And this kind of shows all the different, this is one we use as celebration for, like, we used it when we had our 200th celebration. We use it at Christmas. This is our ordinary times, our green color that we use. Here's Advent, this is my favorite, the blue. And then here's when we use white, where the calendar says white, we use this beautiful, what do you call it? Needlepoint, thank you, Kay. Did you do that? Kitty, did you do this? Kitty, did you do this?
No, I did the Pope.
The hanging, it's beautiful, notice it.
Cushions.
Yes, that's beautiful, yes, the cushions. And then we have red also. So notice when you come in, you know, the different colors that we use in the seasons. We looked at we have some panels, like we have the purple panels that we use. We have gold panels, and we have blue, that's right. We looked at getting green panels, and this material, this silk damask, was like $300 a yard. So we're thinking, you know what, the wood is really pretty. I think we can stick with that. Okay, I'm just going to set up the chalice like we would normally set up on Fridays for the 8 o'clock service, and then like Kay just did 8 o'clock Altar Guild, she cleans up and then resets for the 10:30. So I'm sort of doing her job right now. We do use a piece of plastic on here, and there's one underneath here, because there are spills that happen, and we try to protect our fair linen. It's a lot to wash this and iron it and get it back to the table where it still looks nice. So we try to protect it. And the first thing that goes down is the corporal, and it is ironed so that when you open it up, the right side is showing here. And we turn it so that our pretty symbols, this symbol on here matches what's on the pall for this season. And then our chalice, we have these beautiful chalices, and I want you to come up and look at everything when this is over. And I always try to put whatever symbol or pretty thing towards the priest, because the congregation can't see it, so they might as well be able to do it. And then the paten, this is the John Buchanan chalice in memory of John Buchanan, and this is the paten. But first we need our purificator. That goes on. And then the paten. And then our host wafer. For Wednesday, we use a smaller host wafer, but we use a large one for this one. And then our pall. And we have, I forgot to show you, we have the prettiest picture that hangs in the sacristy that shows you exactly how to do this. How are you going to pass that around? And then we put our silk chalice on that matches our hangings and our bursts.
You do that in one motion like you've done it a few times. Wow.
A few. Let's see if I can get it just right. This chalice is a little taller. It fits this one much better. It's a little shorter. We try to make everything look nice. Does that look about right, Kay? Jeannie? Okay. And then your verse. And I used to get confused when I first started doing it about which way the verse went. And Robert came in, of course, and said, well, first of all, it's like this is going to match that. And I was like, oh, okay. And he goes, and the mouth opens towards the priest, like this. So, okay, I will never forget that. The mouth opens towards the priest. And inside here we have extra purificators in case they need them when they're coming around with the wine to wipe the cup. And those are pretty. So that is how we set up the chalice. And then, of course, our missal stand. Like this. I'll go ahead and put this over here. This is our credence table cover. These all have beautiful emblems in the center of those. Place that over here on the credence table. Here's our missal stand and missal.
And that credence table cover, it fits so perfectly. It must have been done just for our credence table.
But we have ones that are longer. You know, they're all different. Some of them we've had, like Tricia Barfield has taken old linens that we have and taken lace off certain things and added it to pieces of linen and been able to reuse things like that. So they are different sizes, but that one does fit nicely.
Yeah.
Okay, then the gospel, this is one of those things that is done the same every time, precisely. Different priests come in and want different things, and at some point somebody said, I want the gospel the book put just like this on the corner so that they can lift it up. So we've just kind of we've just kept doing that. So that would be your altar set up, and then the credence table has your wine and wafer, and usually, like for the 8 o'clock service, it would have a bread box on there. But for the 10:30 service, they bring up the ciborium and the flagon from the back. This has the wafers, and this has the wine. And when we talk about the silver, this is one of the most beautiful pieces we have. This mark here is a silversmith in New York from 1834 to 39 is when this was made. And some of my records, it says 1880 on this, so all I know, the insurance says 1839, so I don't know if maybe we didn't receive it until 1880, but it is beautiful, and this mark is the mark of that silversmith. It matches these right here that have the same mark. We call these our Savannah chalices. We used to use them in the 9 o'clock service. Since we don't have that, we really don't use them now, but these were a gift from Christ Church in Savannah, from their ladies. Let's see if I can read it on my glasses. I'm talking about the ladies' organizations. Presented to Christ Church Macon by the Ladies Episcopal Working Society of Christ Church, Savannah. And then this one says Christ Church Macon on it. So that was a lovely gift back in the 1800s from them. Okay, so Altar Guild usually sets these on that little shelf right there in the sacristy. Afterwards, I want you to go in and look at the new sacristy. It's beautiful. And then the verger will take them to the back, and they're brought up the front and brought up here. But so, finishing the credence table, the wine and water, wine is always put on the right with handles to the back, so that when the person here turns to hand them to the priest, the handles, she can, whoever's celebrating can grab the handles. So those are set like that. Then we have our lavabo bowl, beautiful piece, and the towel. The water is poured over the priest's hands and dried with this towel. That goes in the back left. Try to turn it. Where's the cross? There's the cross. And then we have an extra chalice that will be used. That goes to the back left. here, purificator and patent. And then we have over here that we always put out. Those are beautiful. Come look at those. And then I was going to show you, so that's really the setup of the altar and the credence table that we do. But I was going to show you the baptismal things that we have. This is the bowl, and it looks very similar to that, but I don't think it is. I don't remember seeing that in there. But this says Christ Church, Macon, Georgia. One baptism, one Lord. And that fits just perfectly in the font. The angel, they take the angel off and put that in there. And then this is the ewer from 1897. And Russ and I were just trying to read this. It says, he took them up in his arms and put his hands upon them and blessed them. Christ Church, Macon, Georgia. So take a look at that too when you come up. And here's our baptismal shell we use. And when we have a baptism, we fill this with really, really, really warm water, almost kind of hot from the tap, and put it back there in the bowl so that when they pour, by the time they do the baptism, the water is warm for the baby or whoever's being baptized. So.
The reason the shell is used is it is symbolic of the shell that it's said to be that John the Baptist baptized Jesus with in the River Jordan. So that's why we use the shell.
Okay. And then I love this. This is a pattern we don't use very much anymore. We used it when we had the 9 o'clock service, or if we had needed 3 chalices, we'll use this extra chalice. And we have this pattern that we use on it, and it is in memory of Emily, well, it says Emily Roberta Flanders died 1890, I think is what it says on there. And then on the back, it says the savings of a little child, Christ Church, Macon, Georgia, Emily T. Giles. I think that's so sweet. And then we take care of these kits that are used to take communion. This one is actually in memory of my grandmother, Elizabeth Fagan Solomon. And it's beautiful, mahogany case, and inside it has everything that the priest needs to take to a larger group to celebrate communion. It has the little corporal, just like I put down here, just a little miniature version, and a small purificator. And it has candles, and we put wafers in there. And inside here is our little chalice and paten. And then they'll fill it with wine and water before they leave so that they can bless that. Little host box, little candlesticks, and a little spoon. So that's lovely, I think. And then we have these kits that lay people can take out, that they have a chalice and paten in it. Let me pull it out, like this, that they can use. And the wine and wafers, they come to this little area. I don't know if you've ever been able to look in here, but we call it the tabernacle. And this is where we keep the reserved sacrament, anything that's been blessed, wafers and wine. And we have the baptismal oil in here that they take back. We fill that with lamb's wool and put the baptismal oil that we have in here on it. And then here are the little wine and wafer host box that go in the box. They take that, so it's already been blessed, and they can give communion to anyone. And these little sweet, when they have had, there's been times at Christ Church when we've used bread that people bake, and so this is called a moot spoon that they use to get the crumbs out of the wine. Those are in there. So take a look at that if you want to. Let's see. I left my notes, so I'm going to make sure I didn't miss anything. Does anybody have any questions? Checking?
Tell them about how exclusive it was to be on.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was reading in a book that the priest, you were asked to be on altar guild by the priest, and you had a probationary period of like maybe 6 to 8 weeks, and if you did not pass muster, you were gone. That was it. And they said the ladies, you know, were, let's see how they phrased it. I thought it was so funny. Of excellent repute. And they were looked on their work with such a pious nature that many times frightened young members away. And that to become a member, you had to wait for one of these holy women to be called to the great altar guild in the sky before you could participate. So,
An altar guild in the sky?
yeah. I think that's it.
Can you
Thought we were off
tell
duty.
them how we divide up the work, the 4 teams?
Oh yes, we have 4 teams. Each team has a Sunday. So if you're team 1, you're the first Sunday of the month. So the Friday, you're attached to that first Sunday. So if you're Friday, you're the Friday before the first Sunday. And if you're Wednesday, you're the Wednesday after that first Sunday. So that's how you know when you're doing altar guild. So.
One good fact about Savannah, our middle son Sam married a girl from Savannah, and her grandmother was in charge of altar guild at Christ Church, Savannah, for over 50 years. So we knew when those two got together that it'd be, you know, perfect match. But she's not going to do it over 50 years.
I have a housekeeping question. First, how do you get the red wine out of pure linen? And the other is, how do you polish all that silver?
Okay, yes. Okay, well, we polish twice a year. And if anybody here loves to polish, or you know anybody that loves to polish, you can come help us polish. You don't have to be doing altar guild. We would love to have you. And we polish everything, the angel, these candles, those candles, the cross, all the silver.
What do you use?
We use Wright's silver paste for the silver, and the brass, we've been using, what is it called? It's a barkeeper's friend, is that what it is? The liquid version? Yeah, that seems to be good. But we also have Winall, because Robert likes to use Winall. He polishes the pulpit and certain things, the little brass plates right there, he'll hit those, and the copper, that's another thing I want to tell you about. Okay, the wine and the lipstick also on the purificator from wiping the cup. We have, and this was discovered it was before I came on, Pear soap from the dollar store, P-E-A-R, Pear soap. We rinse with water, put the Pear soap on there, and then we have a little glass jar with OxyClean and water, and we leave them there, and Markeisha gets them out of there. But let me tell you this also, you need to look when you go in there. It's very important when we clean up after altar guild, anything that is blessed, left over, any crumbs, wine on a purificator, wine left in a chalice, we rinse everything in a little tub, and then we have a beautiful thing it's called a piscina, and it's a copper lid, it has a cross on it. It's so pretty, and we just pour everything down there and it goes straight to the ground. We don't dispose of anything that's been blessed in the sink, but it's just really beautiful, and I hope I want you to walk around and see everything. We had, the last time that sacristy was done is 2000, so it's beautiful.
I've got a question here, this may be for John. When I was serving this morning at 8 o'clock, you know, John went into the tabernacle and pulled out a wafer of wafers, but then you did not utilize them. So I just didn't understand what you...
I took out a gluten-free in case we had a gluten-free.
Is that what that was?
That was my backup gluten-free in case, but nobody was gluten-free. So.
Okay, I apologize. I did not know that. Okay, thank you.
Did I miss anything?
Where did the credence table get its name?
I do not know. That's a good question. Does anybody else know?
The credence table, where does that word come
I do not know.
A beautiful tree.
I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you.
Russ?
Let's see if there's anything. I do like this missile stand was given in 1880, We have so many things that are, this is in the 1800s, the cross in memory of several members of the Bacon family. The Eucharistic candles are in memory. It's a wonderful way. This fair linen is in memory of Cora Wayne Wright. Her family wanted to do something, and we needed a fair linen, and so it's a wonderful way to remember someone.
That's something George Barfield here in the second.
Yes, that's the tray we use to bring things in and out.
And the veil and the verse are in memory of different people.
Yeah, your mom is one of the purple.
That's his mom.
In memory of Margaret Pulliam Smith. And then, and I brought this out, but I didn't show you. We had this is in memory of Miss Nell Perry for her faithful service from 1961 to 1967, 51 to 67. And we use this in the sacristy to vest our chalice. We set it up on this.
Carol, the answer to your question, the credence table is a Latin word of credens, which means believer. And so it is holding the items of the Eucharist that we hold so dear. So, Latin word credens.
I was going to say too, this is kind of a sad note, but we've had two things stolen. One was the large alms basin that the one we had was from the 1800s and looked like this. It had the beautiful writing around, and it was stolen in 1980. I think that was back when we used to leave the church open for people to come in to pray. And that had to change, I guess, then. And then there was also, we had a beautiful bread box from 1880 that was in the sacristy. It was stolen during church. It was sitting on the counter, and somehow a door was not closed good, and somebody just came through and took it. That was very sad for me. I was so sad about that. But anyway, we try to take care of it. And I'm so thankful for all the years of people that have given their service to this and taking such beautiful care of all of our things that we use in our service. So I think that's about it.
Well, let's thank Nan for talking through all this with us. I want to leave enough time for you guys to come up and look at some of the things and then walk through the sacristy. Don't be afraid to open drawers, and cabinets have done all sorts of amazing things with cabinets these days, and to hang the linen so they don't have to be folded, and they got very creative with all of that. So
It's a dream come true.
for sure. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, thank you all.
Yeah, come up and look at some of these things.
You want to take all this back?
I'm gonna let them look at it first.
Okay. They've seen this.
Oh, I forgot to show these.
That's it. How about this now?
Yeah,